The 2011 season was a season that many call the greatest season of the 2010s, and it's not hard to see why. Trevor Bayne winning the Daytona 500 at just 20 years old, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon's duel at Atlanta, Tony Stewart winning the last 5 out of 10 races, NASCAR overhauling the point system, Jeff Gordon snapping a 66-race winless streak, Furniture Row and Regan Smith's first win, Kyle Busch getting suspended in a Truck Series incident, the Harvick v. Busch rivalry, the 3-wide finish at Talladega, the thrilling Coke 600 finish, the inaugural Kentucky race, and much more. But how would the season have played out with no chase and no reset? Now it is noteworthy that NASCAR would overhaul the point system. First we get 46 points, while second we get 42, and you would count down by 1 point all the way to 43rd, which was worth just one single point. And you'd get a point for leading a lap and another for leading the most laps. So with all that out of the way, let's dive into the 2011 season. The first 6 races would only have 4 full-time winners because Trevor Bayne was not eligible for Cup Series points. Jeff Gordon would outduel Kyle Busch at Phoenix to snap his winless streak. Carl Edwards would win the race at Las Vegas, while Kyle Busch would claim next week at Bristol, and Kevin Harvick would win back-to-back at Auto Club and Martinsville. So after the first 6 races, the top 11 drivers would all be within 1 race of each other. This was one of the closest seasons in history. Defending champion in this timeline, Kevin Harvick, was in 5th, 15 points back with 2 wins, while Vegas winner Carl Edwards was 5 points behind Bristol winner Kyle Busch in the point lead, who up to that point had finishes of 8th, 2nd, 38th, 1st, 3rd, and 3rd. Over the next 6 races, the contenders would be shaken up, with Carl Edwards seeming to pull away from the rest. In this time frame, he would have finishes of 3rd, 6th, 5th, 2nd, 7th, and 16th. This would be enough to net him the point lead by 36 points over defending champion Kevin Harvick, who in this time would get a thrilling win in the Coke 600, but would also have other problems.
There was a pass, there was contact, and then as Boyer went into the fence, Kyle Busch came and turned Kevin Harvick around.
We know Harvick is he plays rough, especially when the race is over with. I've seen him climb over people's cars to get to him.
We've got cars overheated. We've got drivers overheated.
And we got wrecked cars. And
Bobby Labonte crashed on the final lap. Harvick looking in his mirror. Shuts the switches off.
Something's going to have to give here, boys.
We thought it could be Newman and Montoya. Turns out it's Harvick and Busch.
His altercation with Kyle Busch at Darlington would ultimately cost him the point lead. Jimmy Johnson would be in 3rd, 37 points back. The last person in contention was Dale Jr., who had an abysmal last 2 seasons with points finishes of 25th in 2009 and 21st in 2010. And now he would finally seem to get his career back on track, even though he was 43 points behind. Kyle Busch fell out of the point lead even though he had a win at Richmond. In his other 5 races, he would have his own difficulties.
Trouble front straightaway, Kyle Busch.
Caution down, spin behind us, spin behind us, caution down, wait. Nice and straight here, get to the asphalt.
Kyle Busch is the first guy to go through the grass without tearing the front end off his car this weekend.
But he slowed down. He realized where he was. He's seen what has happened. You see, he picked up a lot of grass, but he is a lucky guy, man. He got tagged and it sent him through the grass.
Oh, Kyle Busch again. And Marcus Ambrose gets his wish.
I'll tell you who else got their wish.
No
was
kidding.
Casey Kane in that 4-hour leader.
Yeah, the 18 not so lucky this time.
That is an 8 road. I think it hit pretty hard.
13th caution flag, the most since the Daytona 500 this year.
He got the whole right side this time. Spoiler all knocked over, deck lid out of whack, whole back of the car knocked around.
These bad results would ultimately drop him to 5th, 53 points back out of the point lead. At Kansas, all 4 drivers would finish inside the top 11, with Junior being the highest in 2nd, Edwards in 5th, Johnson in 7th, and Harvick in 11th. Johnson would now be 40 points back in 2nd, Junior 41 back in 3rd, and Harvick 43 back in 4th. At Pocono, Jimmie Johnson would be the highest of the contenders, finishing in 4th. Harvick would come on 5th and Junior in 6th. But Carl Edwards would not have such a fortunate day.
And Carl Edwards, while we were away, slow on pit road and then going in reverse. That's not good, Larry McReynolds.
I can only sit here and think back to the top of the show when it was reported that Bob Osborne and Carl Edwards were elected maybe not to shift. Okay, that buys you good fuel mileage, but that's a lot of RPM, especially on this front straightaway when you're staying with that 389 rear end gear the whole way around here. I just think that's hard, if indeed this is what's going on with Carl Edwards.
This bad result for Edwards would close the gap. Johnson was now in 2nd, 6 points out, Dale Jr. in 3rd, 10 points out, and Harvick in 4th, 11 points out. The next race at Michigan, Edwards would be the best, finishing 5th, with the closest contender being Kevin Harvick back in 14th, and was now in 2nd, 20 points back. As for the other 2 contenders, they would have their own difficulties. Junior would finish 21st and was now 27 points back in 3rd. Johnson would finish 27th and was now 29 points back in 4th. The next race at Sonoma, Edwards would continue his consistency with a 3rd place finish, while Johnson would finish 7th to vault himself up to 3rd, 33 points behind. Harvick would finish 9th and stay in 2nd, 25 points back. But Dale Jr.'s championship hopes would go up in smoke.
In a good spot, go down 11. Oh, that's going to leave a mark. Wow, he stayed off the wall. Oh, he locked it up.
Vickers around.
Vickers locked it up, and he gets into McMurray. Newman spins around.
Dale Jr. got a piece.
With that horrible race, that would put him out of contention as a whole, and he would not bounce back. At Daytona, Kevin Harvick would finish 7th and Johnson would come in 20th, but Edwards' point lead would be no more.
Whoa, trouble, Larry. 99 got turned.
Stay high, keep coming. Good job, keep coming there.
Thought he was going to stay off that long.
He came in leading the points, and Carl Edwards goes around early here at Daytona.
With that crash, Edwards would lose the point lead to Kevin Harvick and was now 2nd, 5 points back, while Johnson was now in 6th. Edwards losing the point lead would bring 3 more contenders into the fold. Kyle Busch was now in 3rd, 10 points back, Kurt Busch was now in 4th, 16 points back, and Matt Kenseth was now in 5th, 22 points behind. At the inaugural race in Kentucky, Kyle Busch would win the race and take the point lead, while Johnson would finish 3rd, Edwards 5th, Kenseth 6th, and Kurt Busch in 9th, while Harvick would finish 16th and would slip to 3rd. At the halfway mark, the top 6 would all be within 22 points of each other. It could not get any closer than this. At Loudon, Johnson would come on 5th, Kurt Busch 10th, Edwards 13th, Kenseth 20th, Harvick 21st, and Kyle Busch would have a terrible day. This result would cost him the points lead, and he was now in 5th, 20 points back. At the Brickyard, Matt Kenseth would beat all the contenders with a 5th place finish. It was now tied for 4th place, 16 points back. Kyle Busch would finish 10th and would also be tied for 4th, 16 points back. Harvick would finish 11th and was now in 3rd, 12 points back. Edwards would come on 14th, but would actually grow his point lead to 11 points over Jimmie Johnson in 2nd, who finished 19th. And Kurt Busch would finish 21st and was now in 6th, 18 points back. The next race at Pocono, Kyle Busch would finish 2nd and was now 3rd, 11 points back. Kurt Busch would finish 3rd and was now 4th, 14 points back. Jimmie Johnson would come on 4th and was now 9 points back in 2nd. Edwards would finish 7th and would retain his points lead. Harvick would finish 14th and was now 5th, 20 points back. Matt Kenseth would finish 16th and was now 26 points back. At Watkins Glen, Kyle Busch would finish 3rd and was now tied for the point lead with Carl Edwards, who finished 12th. Kevin Harvick would finish 6th and was now 4th, 14 points back. Jimmie Johnson would finish 10th and was now 3rd, 6 points back. Kenseth would finish 14th and was now 5th, 28 points back. But Kurt Busch's title challenge would fall apart.
So the shorter it is, the quicker you are.
Trouble Doc Kurt Busch into the barrier.
Tire guys, we're in the fence. Our day's done.
Yeah, he's done.
Blew a tire there.
That car's shortened up.
Kurt was running 17th at the time. And that is a pretty heavy hit at turn number 5.
Go to garage.
Yeah, you left front down.
Yeah, you're under full power here.
Wow, man, good thing those tires were there.
With that crash, he was now 6th, 40 points behind. At Michigan, Kyle Busch would win and take the point lead over new second-place runner Jimmy Johnson by 10 points, while the other contenders would not have such fortunate races. Kenseth would finish 10th, Harvick 22nd, and Edwards 36th. Edwards and Harvick were now both behind by 39 points each, and Kenseth by 40. And with Kurt Busch having another disastrous day, he would fall out of contention as a whole. At the Bristol night race, Johnson would finish 4th, Kenseth 6th, Edwards 9th, Kyle Busch 14th, and Harvick 22nd. And with 12 races to go, there would be a tie at the top of the table with 2 more drivers in contention, being Edwards and Kenseth. At Atlanta, Johnson would be outdueled by his teammate in one of the greatest battles in NASCAR history, but he would extend his point lead over Kyle Busch, who had a rough day finishing 23rd and was now 21 points back. Edwards would finish 5th and was now 3rd, 38 points behind. Kenseth would finish 9th and was now 4th, 39 points back. At Richmond, point leader Jimmy Johnson would have his own saga with former 2011 title contender Kurt Busch.
Felt like that's been a handling issue that's detrimental to him, and he gets caught in the back end and into the wall.
Johnson in trouble. Montoya also goes around. Caution number 10.
2 more, you can start the roll.
Wow. He had sideways to get to it.
He had to work hard to get there. That took some talent.
He's 5-time champ.
This would cause him to finish 31st and lose the point lead to Kyle Busch, who had a solid night finishing 6th and was now 1st, 3 points over Jimmy Johnson. Harvick would go on and win to put himself back in contention and was now just 23 points back in 5th. Edwards would also have a solid night finishing 2nd and was now 3rd, only 12 points back. Kenseth would go on to finish 23rd and was now 6th, 34 points behind. This race would also bring in a new contender, and it would be Jeff Gordon, who is now 4th, 18 points back. At Chicagoland, Harvick would finish 2nd and close the gap to 13 points and was now 4th. Edwards would come home 4th and was now 2nd, just 3 points back off a new points leader Jimmy Johnson, who had a 10th place finish, while Kyle Busch had a terrible day finishing 22nd and was now 3rd, 9 points back. Jeff Gordon would finish 24th after a speeding penalty and was now 5th, 30 points behind. Kenseth would come home 21st and was now 42 points back in 6th. At Loudon, Gordon would finish 4th, beating all contenders, and was now 5th, 21 points back from new leader Carl Edwards, who finished 8th, taking the lead away from Johnson, who had an 18th place finish and was now 2nd, 6 points back. Matt Kenseth would close the gap to 37 points, but was still in 6th. Kyle Busch would finish 11th and was now 3rd, just 9 points back. Harvick would finish 12th and was now 4th, 13 points back. At Dover, Johnson would come home 2nd and was now just 4 points back in 2nd. Edwards would be right behind him in 3rd and would retain his lead. Kenseth would finish 5th and was now 39 points back in 6th. Kyle Busch would come home 6th and was now 3rd, 12 points back. Harvick would come home 10th and was now 4th, 20 points back. Jeff Gordon would finish 12th and was now 5th, 31 points behind. At Kansas, Jimmy Johnson would win the race, retaking the points lead. Kenseth would come home 4th, Edwards 5th, Harvick 6th, and Kyle Busch in 11th. But Jeff Gordon's hope at a record-tying 7th title would go up in smoke.
24 may not get to that end.
Yeah, there it goes.
Oh, there
that
it is.
Bring out the yellow, too. This may be bad news.
Caution is out.
Uh-oh. Stay down here, man. Coming outside. Get it below the white line if you can, please.
Huge moment for Jeff Gordon's championship. Maybe a huge moment for the final outcome of this race.
With an engine failure, Gordon would fall to 6th, 64 points back and well out of contention. With 6 races to go, there would be a 5-way title fight. Jimmy Johnson at the top of the table going for a 3rd championship. Edwards trying for his 2nd. Kyle Busch still looking for his maiden title. Kevin Harvick looking for his 2nd championship and looking to become the first person to go back-to-back since Jeff Gordon in 97 and 98. Kenseth would also be looking for his 2nd, and with 6 races to go, we would have to decide the 2011 season. At Charlotte, Matt Kenseth would win the race, closing the gap to new points leader Carl Edwards to now just 32 points. Kyle Busch would finish 2nd and was now 2nd, 15 points back. Edwards would finish 3rd, taking the point lead from Jimmy Johnson, who would have his own troubles.
He finished 6th here in the spring.
And having a top 5 night hang on there, Jimmy Johnson, sideways. Is he going to be able to save it? No. What a hard hit.
We're done, guys. We're in it.
That was a hard lick. Man.
With that crash, he would fall to 4th, 26 points back. Harvick would finish 6th and was now 4th, 25 points back. At Talladega, Carl Edwards would separate himself from the rest, finishing 11th. Kenseth would finish 18th and would vault up to 3rd, 39 points back. While these two both had decent runs, the other 3 would not.
I think one of the things working against.
Oh, no, trouble. Allmendinger turned around. Kyle Busch makes contact. More cars involved. Harvick is in it, one of the championship drivers.
Lock it down there, AJ. Get it rolling here if you can.
Oh, that's Jimmy Johnson.
Stay low, 71 is wrecked there. Put him up there, no pressure. Come on up there, Jimmy, if you need it.
After that race, Kyle Busch would be in 2nd, 37 points back. Johnson would be in 4th, 41 points back, and Harvick would be 5th, 46 points behind. At Martinsville, we would lose 2 contenders because on lap 464, Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch's seasons would fall apart.
Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth around.
And so's the 18. Montoya's involved.
Bigger story, 17 car, Matt Kenseth. 2nd in the championship, up against the wall.
With
Big
a lot
damage.
of damage. Looks like they can get it fixed and get him back out there, though, without losing too much. Nope, take that back. Looks like he's broken the track bar.
Meanwhile, Jimmy Johnson would go on to finish 2nd and leap up to 2nd and was now 34 points back. Harvick would come home 4th and was now 3rd, 41 points back. At Texas, Edwards would establish himself as the championship favorite with a 3rd place finish, while Johnson would come home 14th and Harvick in 15th. And going into the penultimate race at Phoenix, Edwards would have a 46-point advantage over Jimmy Johnson and a 54-point advantage over Harvick. If he gained 3 spots on Johnson and finished within 6 places of Harvick, he would lock up the title a week early. And at Phoenix, he would do just that with a 2nd place finish, while Johnson would finish 14th and Harvick in 19th. And this would hand the title to Carl Edwards. With Edwards winning the title a week early, it didn't matter what happened at Homestead. He would go on to finish 2nd, finishing the season strong for his title campaign. So in this alternate timeline, the narrative would be very different. Tony Stewart would not even be part of the conversation, and Carl Edwards would have to go against some of the best to win the title this year, but the turning point would prove to be that race at Talladega where his rivals would fail and he would prevail. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week for the nail biter of 2012.